All right, everybody. I had to come back into the garage because it was just way too noisy making that last video. So, anyways, I want to talk about something else. Virkon S. It's probably backwards, but anyways, it's Virkon S. And that is a disinfectant. And that's one thing that we don't talk about much in pigeons is disinfectants. We talk about antibiotics and medicines and supplements and all these different things, right? But we almost never talk about disinfectants. And when they do, they talk about bleach. And I'm not a fan of bleach. That's a whole nother story I could go into, but I'm not a fan of bleach. So, anyways, Virkon S is something that you should have on hand. Comes in a tub, and it comes in a tablet form. This is what the tablet looks like right here. Anyways, little backstory. Back 20 plus years ago, when I lived in Southern California, and it was our first strike with the exotic Newcastle disease. And I had a next door neighbor that had about 200 game chickens. And when the USDA came over knocking on his door and they were going to kill all of his chickens, which they seem to be doing with everybody that had game chickens or chickens of any kind in the town I lived in. Of course, I freaked out because I had 400 birds and all my hook bills and chickens and everything that I had, right? So I got with the USDA and I said, hey, what do I need to do? And they said, use this stuff, do the foot bath, do the biosecurity, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, down the road, if you have pigeons long enough, you're going to experience the different types of diseases, viruses, ailments, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I've been through circle virus, I can't tell you how many times, PMV, adenovirus, you name it, been through it. And this stuff really helps. Virkon S is a great product for disinfecting your loft. So, for example, I go to a lot of shows, right? So when I come home from shows, I like to spray my lofts down for a couple days a week, just spraying everything down, just to make sure that if a bird is going to get ill, it's hopefully not going to be spreading it to the rest of the birds. Viruses are hard to contain, but it's easier to contain them in one particular loft if you use a disinfectant. I will mix it into a spray bottle. I'll put not the one tablet. I usually put about two tablespoons of the powder. This is a powder in this particular sprayer, so I can spray down. Spray individuals, spray different things. When I'm going to do full lofts, I just go to a good old-fashioned sprayer, and I put a couple tablespoons in there. I don't think it matters a whole lot. The stronger the better, as far as I'm concerned. Spray the loft down, and one of the important things is if you do have a sick bird, what do you do with it? You put it in an individual cage, and you're going to treat it, right? Well, let's just say the bird perishes, or you were able to cure the ailment. You move the bird out. Well, now you got to disinfect that particular pen. So a product like Virkon S, if I don't cover up the name, so hopefully it'll be legible. Product like Virkon S is extremely helpful for disinfecting where birds have been sick. So anyways, this is something that, again, it's seldom talked about, but I highly recommend that you get yourself some. This is kind of expensive. I've had this for quite a long time. It does have a shelf life, but to me it still smells the same and it still works pretty good. So if you're going to buy one of these, maybe go in with a couple of buddies and then you split it up. It's inside of a bag inside of there, so it's pretty easy to split up. That's it. Or you can just get the tablets, put this in the water, spray everything down. Back in the day, we used to use this product called Novosan, and according to the USDA, it just didn't have the effectiveness for the amount of time that Virkon S does. Whereas they say you can spray this just like every few days, so you don't have to do it every day like you would have to do with Novosan or a different product. So anyways, quick tip, get yourself some Virkon S, have it on hand, and don't be afraid to disinfect your lofts, which I highly recommend you doing if you have birds that don't look very well. Spray it down. Spray the perches, spray everything. Spray it all down. It's best to do it obviously when the conditions are dry to semi-dry. You know, granted, if you have soaking wet lofts inside, that's a whole nother issue that we won't go into. But you know, don't be afraid to invest in a very, very good, very potent, very strong disinfectant that will help to keep your birds healthy. So anyways, Virkon S, get some later.